Hello everyone, this is Vineet Pandey, and in this audio lecture we are talking about the modern poetry group war poets. A lot of people when they prepare for net exam they are simply confided towards Eliot, Yeats, Auden, or many of them read J.B. Shaw, few read Kipling, few read some writers like J.M. Barrie or Arnold Bennett. But a lot of students they do not focus a very separate group known as war poets. In the history of net JRF exams, war poets are very important. Primarily, Wilfred Owen is a writer who has been asked almost in every paper. In this lecture, we are going to sum up these writers, war poets, talking about the conditions of war, their first hand experience of war, and the writers who praise the war for the glory, the writers who criticize the war for the horrors of the war. You must have seen and heard, being a student, you must have understood this. Have you ever heard any story where Indian army behaved like coward? No, never, because we are the brave people. We are the people who are the exceptionally brave. Have you ever heard any story of soldiers of Pakistan of their bravery? Have they ever done any bravery? No, they are the born coward people. They do not have bravery. They are totally different from us. They are the coward kids of coward mothers, right? And we were never together before 1947. Guys, this is the message here, that what we know is the glory. What they know is their glory. This is fake glory. Remember, being the teacher of literature, I'm not offending anybody's sentiments towards army. I myself wanted to join army. I am deeply in love with army. But I have a brain, a conscious brain that also differentiates between the glory and the fake glory. So the message is that when we actually talk about the glory of the war, one should also learn what J.B. Shaw said. J.B. Shaw said, wars are waged by ministers, managed by administrators, fought by soldiers. If you remember Matthew Arnold in his famous work of 1867, Dover Beach, he said, this is the life where ignorant armies clash by night. Why people they are killing each other? Why people they are fighting against each other? So this is the subject of war poetry. Here we are going to talk about the first and the very most important writer, Siegfried Sassoon. Siegfried Sassoon. Siegfried Sassoon, famous writer, famous military officer who won military cross, and after the war he declared that he will not fight again and openly wrote a letter known as Finished with the War, a soldier's declaration. This was very controversial thing because he wrote a letter to the authority, to the army, saying that why being a soldier I should fight for your issues, your reasons. This was very controversial. Next book he wrote was SHERSTON Trilogy. SHERSTON, SHERSTON Trilogy. It's a fictional autobiography dealing with the life of a soldier. Remember, next work he has written is Memoirs of an Infantry Officer, talking about the horror of war, issues of war, problems of war. At that time there was a young boy, Wilfred Owen. He was criticizing war, but his poetry had no good worthy content. So Sassoon, he read his poetries and said that without having the first hand experience of war, you won't be able to write about it, you won't be able to express the reality. Wilfred Owen, charged with the words of Siegfried Sassoon, his idol, joined army and realized that he was trapped. He wrote a letter to his mother and said that Sassoon has trapped me, I have joined army and this is hell. Because he was sent to the battlefield, he was sent to the front, where he realized that fights, actual clashes, gunfires, bullets, this condition is totally different from the conditions what we read in the stories of glory. He wrote a famous work, Dulce at Decorum East, which means that it's an honor to die for the country. Dulce at Decorum, DULCEAT at, next word decorum, DECORUM EST, and complete the title Pro Patria Mori, Pro Patria PATRIA MORI. It means it's an honor to die for one's country. This poem is also known as the gas poem Here he talks about the fake glory. He says that no doubt it's an honor to fight and die for the country. But for what reasons? Next book he has written is Anthem for the Doomed Youth. Anthem for the Doomed Youth, 1917. Here he says that when we people send our kids to fight the battles, when we people send our kids to fight unnecessary wars, why should we give them cremations, proper burials, and fake glory? Why are we making fun of those kids? He says in the opening line, what passing bells for these who die as cattle? He says, no mockery now for them, no prayers nor bells. Message is that those who die, how do we give them respect? This is my personal opinion that Hemant Karkare, the great man who died saving Mumbai, saving India, was ridiculed by somebody who is just saffronized. What is the condition of his family now, Hemant Karkare? What feeling his kids must be having? They lost their father for the sake of nation and somebody is just criticizing. I'm not saying that somebody who has sacrificed life is always good. No doubt, there are people full of good and bad things. But I think we should respect the sacrifice. So we are sending people to fight. We are sending kids to fight for no reasons. Why are we waging wars? Why are we even initiating wars? And just imagine, what if the politicians have their own kids fighting at the battlefield? Will they ever try to fight? No. What if Indian, Pakistani ministers have their own kids in the army? They will never try to fight. They will keep mum, they will keep peace. That's what he says, that why are we actually killing the youth and making fun of them? The next one he has written is Strange Meeting, 1919. Strange Meeting, he talks about the soldier who has shot him. He says, I am the enemy, you killed my friend. I knew you in this dark. That's the message here, that two soldiers who do not even know each other are ideally friends. Next writer, Rupert Brooke, has famously celebrated the glory of war. Rupert Brooke was called the handsomest young man in England by W.B. Yeats. His greatest work is The Soldier, written 1914, celebrating World War I. He said, if I should die, think only this of me, that there is some corner of a foreign field that is forever England. That is forever England. These are the lines. He said that if I die out of England, I am buried somewhere else. England is in my blood. England is in my veins. That place will become of England. And this kind of patriotic feeling, this kind of emotion, devotion for the country was the most motivating thing in World War I. Next writer we have is Isaac Rosenberg, ISAAC, Rosenberg, Rosenberg, minor writer. His famous poem collection known as Poems from the Trenches, Trench War. Next work, Dead Man's Dump, the battlefield which is full of dead bodies. And the next work he has written is Returning We Hear the Skylarks. He says that as a soldier, when we return, we also feel like human. The next writer we have is Richard Eldington, Aldington, famous work Death of a Hero, which is also known as the best war novel by Lawrence Durrell. Remember, Richard Eldington wrote the controversial biography of T.E. Lawrence. Next writer we have is Edmund Blunden, Blunden. He was professor of poetry at Oxford. He was also an army man and also known as one of the greatest cricketer of his time. George Orwell called him a true cricketer. And Wilfred Owen wrote the lines on his tomb, on his gravestone. He wrote, my subject is war and the pity of war. The poetry is in the pity. Famous works written by Blunden is The Barn, Barn, The Harbinger, Harbinger, but you don't have to read any of them. Just remember the titles. Robert Graves. No doubt he's related to archetype myths, but he's also famous for his army experiences. He has written Goodbye to All That. It's an autobiography. Remember, here he talks about his army experiences. Other works, why Robert Graves is famous for? The other works are I, Claudius. I, Claudius is a very important work. Please read the summary. The White Goddess and the Greek myths. These are the most important works he has written. Along with this, we have few more writers like Herbert Reed. He was also a captain, winner of Military Cross, and wrote some poem collections dealing with the war, Songs of Chaos, Naked Warriors, and The End of War. These are the poetry collections dealing with World War I. These are the most important war poets Please read and understand things in detail. They are the purely war poets. If they ask you that do we have other writers who have written about war, yes, Tennyson's Charge of the Light Brigade. Rudyard Kipling wrote the sequel of the Charge of Light Brigade. Matthew Arnold's Doverby talks about the futility of war. Joseph Edison's famous work Campaign also deals with the Battle of Blenheim. So they are the indirect works. Remember all these important things. Keeps revising. Remember, revision is the most important key. Karat abhyas jadmati hot suzan rasri awajat pathar padat nishan. What I'm telling you in Hindi is revise. Because all you can carry in the exam is your active brain and a good amount of memory. Thank you so much. This is Vineet Pandey. May God bless you.